This is our daily study of Pirkei Avot, Ethics of the Fathers, for those who have yard site for tonight, the 18th of Iyar. Samuel Braun, Nachman Carroll, Jeanette Friedman, Arnold Frohlichman, Sonia Golad, Bluma Horowitz, Selma Lipsky, and Isidore Rosenberg. May their memory be for a blessing. As always, a link to the text of the Mishnah will be in the first comment below. We are up to chapter 2, Mishnah number 5. Hu Haya Omer. This is continuing the statements of the great Hillel. He used to say, Ein bor yirei chet v'lo ha'maretz chassid. An ignoramus cannot fear sin, nor can an unlearned man be pious. V'lo ha'baishan lamed v'lo kaptan melamed. A bashful person cannot learn, nor can an impatient person teach. V'lo kol amarba b'schora machkim. And not everyone who engages too much in business will grow wise. V'makom she'en anashim hishtadel lios ish. And in a place where there are no men, endeavor to be a man. And that last part doesn't really to be male in a gender sense. It's an old-fashioned way of saying to be a responsible leader. Where there are no leaders, strive to be that leader yourself. All right, we'll get to that at the end. Let's go back to the beginning. So, ein bor yirei chet. I like the way Safaria translates this, a bor as a brute. Now, the Hebrew word bor happens to be exactly the same in English. They must be etymologically related because bor in Hebrew actually translates into B-O-O-R, a bore, if you ever heard that term. Like, you, sir, are a bore, for a sophisticated way of saying, a jerk, basically. So it's the same word in Hebrew. And so it doesn't refer to someone who's intellectually, right, not intelligent. It's a moral term, like an uncouth person or a brute. That's why I like the Safaria translation. But such a person will not fear sin. Because basically they're so self-centered and overconfident in themselves that they don't even have the reverence and humility for God. Okay, but then the next line is velo am haaretz chassid. This is a different term. And am haaretz is a way of saying an ignorant person. It's not a morally foolish person like a bore. It's just someone who doesn't know very much, a simple person. You could put it that way. The word am haaretz means a person of the earth, a regular man of the earth. A simple person. So such a person is not gonna. That person can fear sin, right? They could obviously be a good person. God forbid that they couldn't, but they won't become extra pious. That's what the term chassid means. Right now, there's a Hasidic movement, men who wear the strimals and the long payas, for example. But the original term of the original meaning of the word chassid is an extra pious person, and so such a person they can fear sin, but they won't become extra pious because you have to be learned to be able to become on that higher level. Okay. Below Baishan Lamed, important lesson. A shy person will never learn, right? This is true in school. Don't be shy to raise your hand or you'll never learn, as they used to say. I think some teachers used to say, there are no stupid questions. And then I heard a cynical teacher say, there are no stupid questions, only stupid people. That's a mean thing to say, right? But I like the first part, there are no stupid questions, and I encourage that at shul also. I always say, like, the same, that's my philosophy. There are no stupid questions, ask whatever you want because a shy person cannot learn. And the commentary of the Kahati explains why Hillel had to say this, because elsewhere in Pirkei Avot, the rabbis say it is actually good in general in life to be humble and to be bashful and to be shy and not call too much attention to yourself. Right? Raising your hand in class is, you could think that violates that general principle. But Hillel is saying, no, when it comes to studying, that's an exception. In general in life, you should be meek and humble to the extent possible. When it comes to studying, you cannot be shy at all because there's a greater good of learning, and therefore don't worry about being, arrogant or making yourself look foolish or any of those concerns. But there's a corollary. Aloha kaptan malamed, an impatient person will never be able to teach. If you're a rabbi and you're teaching, hey, if you're shy, you'll never learn. The rabbi, the person who's teaching that, also has to internalize that if you're impatient with any questions, you can't be a teacher because you have to be incredibly patient. So one example I like to give in my experience, once again, I'm usually fine with any question that's asked. I remember once I gave a 20-minute short lecture. The title of the lecture was The Meaning of the Word Mitzvah. And the entirety of the lecture from beginning to end was about that topic. What does the word mitzvah mean? And I explored the common misconception that it means a good deed. That's one way to translate it. But it really means an obligation or a commandment. Okay, and I was sort of exploring that. And then after 20 minutes, someone raised their hand and said, yes, but what does the word mitzvah really mean? That was their question. And it was interesting. First I thought he was joking. And other people started laughing and rolling their eyes, and he looked confused. And I guess he wasn't paying attention. That was literally the entire subject from beginning to end that I had been talking about for 20 minutes. And I was proud of myself that I didn't sort of laugh or lose my cool. I summed up what I had been saying in the past 20 minutes in like 1 minute. I said, well, this is probably what the word means. I guess he wasn't paying attention, but that's just a classic example of you have to be patient when you teach. Okay. Also, if you engage too much in business, you'll never become wise. It's just standard advice on don't be a workaholic. Where's your time for self-improvement? And I always point out how the Mishnahs dovetail on each other. So in previous Mishnahs, we had that you can't sit and study Torah all day. Traditionally, the rabbi said you have to have an occupation and a job. But here is a corollary, right? If you have a job, you can't work too much that you don't have any time to study Torah. There's clearly a balance, but this is all exploring the general principle of Torah im derech eretz, that as Jews we believe in having Torah along with the regular way of the world and being part of society. And so many of the Mishnahs have different emphases on how to stress that balance. Okay, and finally, a great statement: in a place where there are no men, strive to be a man. And once again, this applies to women too. It really means in a place where there are no leaders, you strive to be that leader. And this is also something that comes up in shul all the time. It comes up at board meetings where someone complains, why is nobody taking care of XYZ? And the sort of coy response from other board members will be like, well, why don't you take care of that if you're the one bringing it up, right? And it's a good point. The way Rav Kook, Rabbi Abraham Isaac Kook, the great chief rabbi of Israel from 100 years ago, and religious Zionist icon, put it, he sort of had a similar lesson. Do not complain about the darkness, but rather light a candle, right? Don't sit in the darkness and complain about the dark. You be the one to light that candle. And a lot of people don't have that confidence. They think, why is there nobody? Why are there no leaders? And then Hillel saying, what about yourself? Did you ever consider yourself? And I think this relates to the previous statements, like Loha Baishan Lamed, someone who is shy and meek will never learn. I think it's a similar dynamic here. Yes, you should be shy and meek, but not so much that you don't become a leader if you are the only person qualified to do that. Right? You don't chase after leadership, but if you look around, there's no one else who can do what you do. Then don't be so shy. Just like a shy person won't learn, a shy person will never accomplish good, positive goals of leadership. Okay, so with that, we will say the prayer following the study of Mishnah. Um, Tonight is Lag BaOmer, a minor holiday, 33rd day of the Omer, on which we celebrate the revelation of the Zohar, the central text of Jewish mysticism, by Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai. So we don't make the standard El Maleh memorial prayer. We'll just say the substitute, which is the study following the prayer following the study of Mishnah. Ana Adonai Malei Rachmim Asher B'Yadcha Nefesh Kol Chai V'Ruach Kol Basar Ish Yen Al Ratzon Lefanecha Toraseinu Tfiloseinu Ba'avor Nishmos Kol HaAskaros Shel Halaylo Gmol Na Imahem B'Chastach HaGadol Liftoch Lehem Shari Rachmim B'Chesed V'Shari Gan Eden V'Skabel Osam Ba'avo V'Chiba V'Shlach Lehem Malachecha HaKadoshim V'Tahorim La'alicham La'Shivim Tachas Eitz HaChaim Eitz Nishmos HaTzadikim HaTzidkanios Chasidim HaChasidos Lehanos Miziv Shchinoscha La'aspia Mituvcha HaTzafun HaTzadikim V'Haguf Yanuach B'Kever B'Menucha Nechona V'chedva v'simcha v'shalom. K'dechsiv yavo shalom yanuchuk al mishkavosam. Olech nechocho. V'chsiv yalzu chasidim b'chavod yiranin al mishkavosam. V'chsiv im tishkav lo sivchad v'shachafta v'arva shnasecha. Okay, and in English, please, O Hashem, full of mercy, for in your hand is the soul of all the living and the spirit of every human being. May you find favor in our Torah study and prayer. For the souls of Samuel Braun, Nachman Carroll, Jeanette Friedman, Arnold Frohlichman, Sonia Golad, Luma Horowitz, Selma Lipsky, and Isidore Rosenberg, in whose memory we study and pray. Accept them with love and affection, and send them your holy and pure angels to lead to settle under the tree of life near the souls of the righteous and devout, to enjoy the radiance of your presence, to satiate them from your good that is concealed for the righteous. May their body repose in the grave with proper contentment, pleasure, gladness, and peace. As it is written, let them enter in peace, let them rest on their beds, everyone who has lived in his proper way. As it is written, let the devout exult in glory, let them sing joyously upon their beds. And as it is written, if you lay down, you will not fear. When you lay down, your sleep will be sweet. Amen.